Chapter 71 Rulon. The boat slowly left the river bank. The girl slowly left Fan Xian. Seeing in the arms of this soft like boneless wonderful people sit next to Fan Xian a big sigh of relief, after all, is before and after 30 years of old virgin, suddenly encountered this kind of stimulation, really some cannot stand. See his look, see Lily some curiosity, nowadays in these years, like this kind of rich and powerful son, who is not at the age of 13 or 14 years old will be with the mansion maids fooling around a gas, like this kind of person is really rare. How does she know? Fan Xian grew up in Tanyu State when he was a child. The maids are those few. The winter child who fantasized about when he was a child has long been married, and then was preparing to mingle with CC the girl, and then was called to Kyoto in a hurry. Si Lili looked at Fan Xian's handsome face, for a moment was a little lost in thought, red face, silent clipped some dishes to the plate in front of him. This was Fan Xian's first time in a brothel in his 2 lives, so he was a bit nervous, and naturally, he couldn't talk about any experience. Seeing the other party's silence, he thought that the Qing dynasty's greenhouse girls served people in such a style, so he also kept quiet, but his left hand, intentionally or unintentionally, still rested on Si Lili's waist. The atmosphere of the scene immediately warmed up. The other cabin is very lively. Fuji Zijing is bringing a few beloved men in the drink. The pimp at the side of the accompaniment asked if you want a girl to accompany. A few men seemed to be a bit moved, but Fuji Zijing is very coldly shook his head. Followed the young master these days, but not a little show their own means of opportunity. Today is a rare to go out. How will not drink and seek pleasure to miss the main event? Seeing him insist, the pimp naturally also not forced, anyway, the money has been given, so smiling on the side of the pouring of wine and talk to accompany. This pimp is also surnamed Si, but this surname is obviously a fake. The name Ling, the age of 30 years old, charm is still alive, speak and do things very well. A few cups of wine, whispered in the ear of the Fuji Zijing asked, Master looks great. I do not know in which to do things. This is very obvious prying. Fuji Zijing smiled, earlier booked when it was made clear, our young master is the eldest son of the fan house. Si Ling smiled flirtatiously. The fan clan in Kyoto is one of the 5 great clans, not to mention that there are more than a dozen mansions underneath it. The most luxurious ones are at least 3 or 4. Fuji Zijing laughed and did not answer. Si Ling's heart moved, tentatively asked, out of such a generous, think. It is Squire Fan's family? Originally today is deliberately strolling through the building. Of course, Fuji Zijing will not deny, nodded. Si Ling's face was astonished and she exclaimed, so it's Sananbo's son. In her heart, she was still a bit puzzled, since it was the young master of Sananbo's family. The handsome descendant sitting in the back cabin with her own daughter must be the bastard son of the fan house that everyone occasionally mentions these days. How could such an outside son be able to support the fan house with so much silver money? These questions she naturally will not say, just smiled and thought to myself, when I began to comb the cage to receive customers, I once heard those older sisters said, Sananbo Fan Jian is a frequent visitor to the Kyoto moonshine scene, even after marriage, but also often linger on the river, and even caused the royal historian frequently on the playbill to participate in him, but he and His Majesty's love in early childhood, so there is no help. I can't imagine that 20 years have passed, and the son of Sananbo has started to throw money into the flowers again. Previously, the look at the young master of the fan family, we know that the other party is involved in this way, so Si Ling secretly marveled, the first time out to seek pleasure, will find the most popular girl in the family. This is really the origin of the family is talking. Above the river bank suddenly appeared a few red lanterns, seems to be someone in this side shouting something. The pimp stood up, some hesitation, Fuji Zijing sharp eyes, a glance recognized as the King Jing's guards, and hurriedly ordered the boat to the bank to lean to pick up people. After King Jing's son boarded the boat, he naturally entered the back cabin. Si Ling's old bawd was shocked when she saw this one, thinking how to invite this master too. It seems that the face of that master fan in the back cabin can be really big. The guards of the Son of the World and Fuji Zijing are familiar with them, and go to drink wine. In the back of the cabin, Prince Jing couldn't help but laugh at Fan Xian's wimpy face. Miss Lily isn't going to eat anyone, so why are you hiding so far away? Fan Xian thought to himself, if you don't come, I'm going to start eating people, and asked, why is the prince so late? King Jing's son, Li Hongqing, was stunned in thought, can I tell you that Lord Father taught himself a lesson because of you? Oh, a smile, instead laughed, you come from Tanyu, do not know this Kyoto rules, always at home after dinner, only will come out to enjoy the night scenery. The word enjoy the night view was used wonderfully, but this rule was not seen. Fan Xian knew it in his heart, and did not kill the other party, smiled and drank a glass with him. Strange to say, he and King Jing's son plus this time also only met 3 times, but 2 people feel that each other's temperament is somewhat compatible. King Jing's son does not have the kind of barbaric feeling of the royal relatives, and Fan Xian is not like the general power and noble son of that kind of vulgarity cannot be said in front of the King Jing's son is also free and natural, but just fit Li Hongqing's temperament. After a few cups of wine, the 2 of them became familiar with each other, and as the prince seemed to be very interested in his life in Tanyuzu, Fan Xian chose to talk about a few things that weren't so strange, such as mirages and the like. There was only one girl in the room, Miss Silly, who was a bit fidgety, not knowing which master to serve. Although she knew that the money for the chartered boat was paid for by this young Master Fan, but the status of Prince Jing's son was so honorable, so what if young Master Fan was planning to let himself serve the son? Li Hongqing smiled and glanced at this girl. Although he often hung around in the green houses, this Lily girl was also seen, but all the things are not coincidental, but has not yet had anything to do with her, to see her face difficult look. Although he knew that the other party is intentionally play this kind of aggravation, but still his heart is soft, and signaled her to sit beside Fan Xian. The pimp naturally would not let the son sit dryly, and had long gone to the side of the courtesan boat to invite a girl to come. This girl's name was Yuan Meng, and she was also one of the most popular purveyors on the Lujing River, and Si Li was at the small table on the left and on the right, which was worthy of the status of the son and the Fan family's great young man. As the wine grew stronger and the night deepened, Prince Jing and Fan Xian grew closer and closer, both very satisfied with this meeting. Seeing the bright moon in the sky shifting its direction, the 2 of them exchanged glances, smiled faintly, and returned to their cabin with their own beauty. As the red candles rose, Miss Si Li's eyes were like silk, and she gently leaned her back against Fan Xian's embrace, her fingers gently tickling the palm of his hand, her breath like an orchid. Fan Xian did not move and took out a homemade wax pill from his sleeve and gently crushed it. Si Li fainted with a hint of a smile, the cabin's ecstasy aroma like orchids. Translated with dpel.com, free version.